I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, April the 11th, brought to you in part by New Generation Supplements, manufacturers of Smart Lick in a drum and Mega Lick low moisture supplement blocks and tubs. They've got facilities in South Dakota, Oklahoma, Nevada, Iowa, and Tennessee, and have a network of 2,000 dealers for you to get your hands on this product. For more information, go to newgensupplements.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver, Oklahoma, they've got about 3,000 head for the regular weekly cattle auction here on Tuesday. Going to have 700 to 900 calves on offer. Only about half of those are going to be weaned because they've got at one consignment 200 head of 3-weight calves. They're going to be pulling a lot of splitting a lot of pairs on Tuesday here. So about 200 3-weight calves right off the cow, but really good quality. And guys, if you want something that'll make some money, buy some of those little lightweight things. I guarantee you there's an opportunity in there sometime during their life cycle that they'll make good money. You got to keep them alive though. But be a lot of those light calves. They're going to have over 40 bottle calves. If you need some bottle calves, you like to raise bottle calves, if you're interested in some beef bottle calves that are kind of hard to find, guys, you need to be online or at the sale barn at Beaver County Stockyards. Call in your order there, get a hold of them. But probably 1,800 to 2,000 head of yearlings. Be 12 straight loads of 8 and 9 weight yearling steers there. Be a load and a half. That'll be all natural, IMI Global verified there. If you're interested in those, they're going to have 7 straight loads of heifers weighing in the 8s there. Be some bred cows and a pretty good run of packer cows, which is kind of hard to find these days. Also, they're going to be having the benefit auction for the family of Bernie Smith. If you guys remember, I told you this last week, but they were going to be trying to put that together, but it had just happened. But Bernie Smith was a volunteer, salt of the earth kind of a guy, loved to run cattle. He loved to be a cattle trucker. He was a bull hauler for many years there, brought his family back home, and they got into the bull hauling to make ends meet there on top of running cattle. But just the kind of guy you wanted to neighbor with, the kind of guy you wanted to be friends with. He was a great guy, and if you guys know him, you know that. But they've got a donated calf that they're going to have a rollover auction on there. They've kind of got a loose goal of $50,000 that they would like to raise. If you're not going to be there to be able to contribute in that manner, you can just call the sale barn or go by the sale barn. They're going to be taking donations there. All the money going to go to the family of Bernie Smith, who died kind of tragically here in an accident loading some cattle here just over a week ago. So don't forget that. Got a runaway market here, guys, and each week that it gains so much ground on our fat cattle, our feeder cattle, our calves, every class of cattle, you think, well, boy, that was a sure good market last week. We won't have enough steam to go, and it doesn't even hiccup, guys, anymore. Just keeps rolling. Last week we talked that we had broken an all-time record high fat cattle. Your nationwide weighted average on negotiated fed steers and heifers going to be 173.36 for last week, and that blew right by the previous all-time record high of 171.38. But we did have a 173 established market in the Northern Plains back in 2014 when we achieved that most recent record high. But we achieved that in the early summer, in the June part of the year there, whenever we normally see our biggest demand for beef and for cattle there. We're early, and I think we might set this all-time record high about the same time of year, or we may continue that on into the summer a little bit, but late summer always kind of pressures your cattle. So I would say that we'll probably set this all-time record high, whatever it's going to be, which I think it'll probably be over $2 a pound in the next couple of months, guys. But gain all this ground that you can gain while we're doing it. Sun is shining. Make hay. Let's go and get as much of it as we can. You few negotiated cattle sellers, my hat is off to you. You guys have done this for the industry, and for all those guys that are sitting there taking your coattails and just scheduling their cattle in, gridding their cattle in, formulating the cattle in. But the few guys that negotiated sell, a lot of farmer feeders in Iowa, a lot of small independent feeders in Nebraska, be just a handful of guys in Kansas, and maybe less than a handful in the Texas Panhandle. But hats off to you negotiated guys. You're the most stubborn, hard-headed guys there is, and that's one reason that we love you. You've hung in there this long. You're making this market, and likely there's some guys out there feeding cattle, selling on your coattails, that are getting a higher price than you. The packers love to give high prices to cattle or to people that'll just promise all their cattle to them for captive supplies. So they're giving them a little extra bonus there and making it hard on the negotiated guys. But just keep giving it to them, guys. Just keep holding their feet to the fire. They don't have near enough cattle bought. They need a lot of cattle here over the next 2 or 3 months, and there's not many finished cattle out there. So it's time to just continue this runaway market here. Of course, we know with every step that the fat cattle gains, your feeder cattle keep getting a little bit higher. Corn had backed off last week. Of course, here on the first day of the week, your spot corn futures went up about as much as they dropped all of last week. But I tell you what, there's good demand for feeder cattle. There's some empty pens showing up. Really good demand for grazing cattle, even though the guys for your big grazing areas like the Flint Hills and the Osage, they've probably already got their cattle put together. But if you're looking for some cattle that may be kind of worth the money, if you know how to take care of them, you can get them straightened out, and you've got something for them to eat or a place to turn them out, you can call my old buddy Ellison Carter Cattle Company there in Santo, Texas. Talked to him over the weekend. They kind of had a short day on Easter, so they could enjoy it with their families there, but they ship on Sunday. This is what he shipped. These are delivered prices to western Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, and the like, maybe even up into the edge of Kansas, but you can extrapolate from there what it would take to get them to your house. But you can order these cattle. This was the loads that he shipped out over the weekend, and not running as many sales as he normally does. Runs are tightening up just a bit. The market's really good, even in central Texas there where he buys most of these calves. But this is what it would cost you to have some of these cattle delivered to you. Had a load weighed 300 steers and bulls, but all black. 300 pounders at $250, $385. That's significantly cheaper than you can get them bought in most places. Load weight 420 steers and bulls, or these were all steers and all black, averaging 420 pounds at $240, $335. Some plainer type steers and bulls, and carrying a little bit of ear, probably 450 pounders at $201.20. Some plain 500 pounders at $195.75. Some good quality cattle, good enough to go anywhere, 515 pounds at $203.50. And then some a load of 7 1/4 weight, all steers, all yearlings at $189.10. On the heifers, a load weight 370 at $214, top quality. Load of fancy heifers, 4 1/4 weight at $218.30. Load weight 480, also fancy, at $211 1/4. Load of all black heifers, weight 530 at $202.10. And then a load of plainer heifers, weight 535 at $185.95. If that sounds interesting to you, get a hold of Ellison at ellisoncartercattle.com. Let's talk about your board to start the week, and it was higher for a change. April live cattle futures up 30 cents at 171.37, getting close to your all-time high spot market live cattle future price of 171.97. June live cattle up 60 cents at 163.70, getting a little more interest there, but I'm telling you guys, that is way under what that quote needs to be. Your back months on live cattle up 27 cents to up 60. April feeder cattle up 30 cents at $200.92. May up 22 at 205.62. Your back months up 40 cents to up 127. Look at your grains. May corn up 10.5 cents. It was down all of last week and only down about that much for the week, but gained it all back on Monday here at 6.54 at the end of regular trading. December was up 6 cents at 5.62 3/4 cents a bushel. May beans down 5 1/4 cents at 14.87 1/4. November new crop beans actually unchanged, as volatile as they are, at 13.09 3/4 cents a bushel. Weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle sales out of your 5-area feeding region. Total receipts out of the 5-area, 83,600 head compared to 76,100 last week or the previous week, and 84,100 the same week a year ago. Live sales of steers and heifers ranged from 166.50 to 178 all over the 5-area. I heard several guys that sold at 180 and it never got reported. I would like to see that turned in to the auditors for mandatory price reporting that goes in there and does that. There were several deals that I know of guys that sold at 180 and they didn't believe there were any kickers on them. But that 166.5 to 178, $2.50 to $5 higher on your price range. Weighted average on live steers was 173.10 in the 5-area, and that was up $4.36. Dress sales last week, steers and heifers ranged from 272 to 283, $7 to $8 higher, and your dress steer weighted average in the 5-area feeding region ended up being 278.65, up $8.29. Talk about gain in ground on a dress basis there, guys. When's the last time you remember it being up almost $8.30 right there? I don't ever remember it, but very, very impressive. I had a request to give some prices on some dairy cattle. Straight dairy cattle selling dress basis from 240 to 250 direct in your 5-area feeding region. Let's talk about nationwide sales on a negotiated basis. 103,000. When we break 100, we hardly ever break 100 in your 5-area, and not that often in your nationwide, but we did last week on light numbers, 103,000 compared to 95,000 the previous week, 96,600 the same week a year ago. Of that 103,000, only 17.5% of them were for the 2 to 4 week delivery, so that's good that guys are resisting that. They desperately want them for that, but guys are resisting that because they don't want these packers to establish themselves and set them up to stop this rally. So keep making them take those cattle within the first 2 weeks, guys, for current delivery. Keep everything cleaned up, keep everybody green, keep the packers hungry, just like you do your wife, just a little bit. But nationwide, negotiated sales 103,000, negotiated grid 39,300, forward contracts last week 40,600, and formula deals 260,400 head. Of our negotiated trade in the 5-area. Of course, we don't get to see Colorado. As aggressive as those packers have been, and the regional packers too, going where the cattle are at, still not enough play in Colorado to let that information come through. But Iowa had sales negotiated last week of 26,200. Nebraska had 31,900. Kansas 15,800, biggest we've seen for them for a while. Texas 9,700. So pretty good movement, guys, negotiated out of your 5-area feeding region. Box beef cutout values started the week higher. We're expecting them to really rally. Choice to get over $300 and move up here as we're getting into grilling season. Choice cuts up $1.93 at $290, $291. Selects up $262 at $278.40. Your slaughter, kind of disappointing here. We had a disappointing week last week and started out on Monday of only 113,000 estimated harvest there. That's 10,000 less than the same day a week ago. So we don't like that. But, you know, the packers are really wanting to crank this slaughter up. They're just really short bought. And when they're not harvesting a lot of cattle, that leaves less meat for them. The carcasses are lighter, and that just exacerbates their problem. So it's more their problem than it is ours. Talk about what else is going on. Night Latch Group, Western Oklahoma, that's Andy Cunningham, wants to know if you're tired of margin calls on your hedging on your fat cattle, guys. Hold on to your investment. And we're talking about cattle on feed, feedlot cattle. You can hold on to your investment with gross margin policies. He's got it figured out. Hedge your cattle and your corn at the same time. Go to nightlatch.net. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Monday sitting at 196.89, down 3 cents from your end of last week. And we had some really hot regional sales up in the northern plains on Friday, and so we're just keeping kind of pace with that, and steady is a victory here. But talk about your big sales on Monday. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City only had 4,900 cattle, 7,200 the same week a year ago, guys. But your feeders sold $5 to $9 higher, spots as much as $12 higher. Your steer calves, your stalker type steer calves, weighing in the 5s and 6s, mostly weaned, $8 to $10 higher. New crop steer calves unweaned, $6 to $8 lower. Heifer calves steady $1 higher in a light test. Stick out deal in Oklahoma City was National Livestock Commission sells 91 head of steers, weighed 858 at 201. Very impressive out of Oklahoma City there, guys. How about Joplin Regional Stockyards? 8,250 head of cattle for their sale. Steers and heifers were $4 to $12 higher. Pee-wee steer calves weighing in the 4s as much as $20 higher. Big time good sale there in Joplin Regional Stockyards. Looking at a big time quote out of Joplin was 111 steers, weighed 897, right at 900 pounds. At $190, guys, and a lot of yearlings there at Joplin on Monday. Your Zoetta stick-out sale of the day was Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. About 2,500 head of feeders for them. Market steady to $5 higher for the most part. Look at your best tested weights on this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. You see 229 head of 8-weight steers averaged 851. Weighted average price on all of those, $198.18. 708 head of 9-weight steers in Worthing, South Dakota, averaged $939. Weighted average price on those, $192.17, and that was about $7 higher than the same sale last week on a weighted average of 9 weights. Had one individual quote weighing over 1,000 that was impressive to me. 111 head of 1,049-pound steers bring 183.10, and then on the biggest draft of heifers, or biggest weight group of heifers there, 227 head of 8-weight heifers averaged 856. Weighted average price on those $180.94, and that was about $8 higher than last week as far as your weighted average price went. Give you some individual quotes. How about Gainesville Livestock Auction? Gainesville, Missouri, extreme south central Missouri, down there in the Ozark Mountains, guys. 90 head of steer calves weighed 479 at $269.75. Wow. How about Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing had another stick-out deal I wanted to tell you about. 134 steers weighed 907 at 195.60. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, come out of Faith Livestock Auction in Faith, South Dakota, was 92 steer calves, weighed 618 pounds at $2.50 a pound. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.